World, welcome to another episode of US Roundtable. We got Petee G, Terri TV joining us. Happy about that. Travesty and myself, Khadijah, your favorite millennial.
And yes, she is our favorite millennial. And I want to also welcome Terri TV, who has officially gave us the okay to bring her on the show, and she will be a permanent fixture as long as we have her.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate the warm welcome. Thank you.
Well, listen, we're happy to have you, Terri TV, and we're ecstatic and excited. But what I want to start off with really quickly before everybody else comes on is that we got an email from the fan base, and they're asking the entire team, hey team, US Roundtable team, is Chivalry dead?
Oh.
Wow.
Well, in this man's heart right here, Chivalry is not dead. I just want to go ahead and put that out there. Definitely.
I don't think it's dead, but it's definitely lying dormant for sure.
Yeah, it's dormant. You're right.
It's lying dormant. It ain't dead, but yeah. I think this new millennial phase, sorry, Khadijah, I think this new millennial phase didn't get the handbook on chivalry.
I like that.
I don't think they got the handbook, but hey.
Well,
Travis,
you know
what you say?
I feel it's.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
Chivalry.
don't have too much to say about it.
He's like, ain't too much. I mean, really. It's like, not really.
I feel like it's not, but I'm basing that also off of my relationship, which Peter has a whole different idea of. I don't think it is. Honestly, the guys I know are pretty nice and sweet,
Yeah, I hear you, but you know what? Being nice and being chivalrous is that's two different things. I mean,
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so give me, I guess, an example, because for me, no, but that's why I'm like, what was it, or how was it determined for you guys growing up?
Oh, well, let me tell you something. You always hold the door for a woman, and you also let the woman go first. And that also includes your mother, because I made that mistake one time when I was 14 years old. Caesar's Bay Bazaar in Brooklyn. I walked ahead of my mother. My father kicked me so hard in the back of the thigh, we had to go home. That's how hard he kicked me, because I went ahead of my mother.
Damn.
Yeah,
Man,
but I
you couldn't even walk in front of your mom. Damn.
Like, he really took chivalry real serious in y'all house.
Yeah, wow.
Like, dang.
Yeah, well, you never walk in front of your mother. Let's be real. You never walk in front of your. That was a big no-no. But I was in a rush to get in there because Nintendo was hot back then, and I had to get in there, and I couldn't even get the game I wanted anyway at that point because I was in so much pain. We had to leave.
Another chivalrous thing to Khadijah for more of you Northerners is that the man's supposed to walk outside of the woman. So the woman's supposed to be in the inside, and the man is supposed to walk on the outside of you, like towards the street. That's a chivalrous
so we get
moment.
hit first. Yeah.
Yeah, all that walking y'all doing up north.
That actually comes from the concept of if you're walking on the outside, you're the call girl, and the guy on the inside is your pimp. So generally know that
I never heard of that.
If they're driving past you and they see you on the outside and they're honking while you with, they think, hey, let me buy her, and you're like, yeah. So when you're not on the inside, it shows that you don't respect her and that she's a working girl.
Oh my goodness! See, I never knew that. Wow.
That's a new one.
That's a whole new one for me.
Interesting fact.
Well, you know what? Here's one I'm going to quiz Terri TV on. When you're walking with your man, let me ask you: would you get upset if somebody splits both of you?
Yes, definitely so. Like, do you not see us standing next to each other walking?
Right.
Like, what's really good? Right. Yes, I'll definitely be upset.
Now, are you going to be upset at your man, or are you going to be upset at the person cutting in between both?
My man, because he didn't intervene immediately after the fact.
Right. Now going back to the whole thing about being on the
well, good news there, they could get past you.
But, that's the whole thing, and that's what we call that up here is the swim move. So when you're walking with your girl or when you're walking with your partner, let's be correct here, you're walking with your partner. If somebody's trying to come down the middle, you basically take your left arm and you kind of guide them out of the way. But these days, the whole thing with COVID, people are kind of like not weary of splitting anybody anyway. But people
I wouldn't suggest touching nobody, like putting hands on them unless you're ready to lay down your life for me. But hey,
Well, listen, no one's going to come in between us. That's why I do it. And then I put the the hand sanitizer on my hands after that. You know, I mean that's a serious thing. So chivalry in this generation, Gen X, is definitely not that. But I don't know, these millennials, I don't know about that. Sparrow, you want to weigh in?
Well, that's why I asked the definition for you guys is because I think it's not, but only by my personal definition of growing up.
Go ahead. What's the personal definition you got there?
I wouldn't say so much, or definitely the holding doors, not so much the walking on the street, but again, times change and meanings, or sayings and meanings or things you do kind of lose their context. So that's not something I would never think about. I know about the car jumping a curb, but I always said to myself, and this might just be my humor, if a car jumped on a curb, we both probably dead, whether who you were standing on the outside or the inside. So, but yeah, I just just don't see it's the same. It's weird.
I hear you.
Maybe the walking ahead. I kid you not. I get mad at that like every other day. But
what if you guys are entering into an establishment? Do you prefer him to open the door for you and let you walk in first, or y'all just kind of walk in together like, hey? So
it depends. It's usually he opens the door and I walk in. But for things like cars, so for example, we get into an Uber, I hate when he opens the door because then I gotta scooch and it's like scooch. Like to me, it's like forget it. I'm just walking around. Yeah, you gotta scooch across because he's gonna get in after you.
Right.
So
you're basically wanting to go on the other side of the car.
And then I said this. I was like, okay, I understand you're trying to be nice, but unless you're gonna open this side, I hop in and you go around. We're not about to do this. I just hate scooching. That's like a personal thing for me. Like you get a wedgie, it's complicated. Your clothes.
You definitely get a wedgie. You definitely get a damn wedgie.
Okay, so
too much.
Whenever we take an Uber, I'll open the door for her and I'll close the door and I'll go around into the traffic side and get in. I mean, that's.
And that's what I said. I'm like, unless you want to do that, but I'm not gonna ever scooch. I just hate it.
Yeah. Well, you know what? That's a whole different realm right there. The whole scooching.
I went on a date with this guy once. I was like 18, and he was very chivalrous, and every time I saw him, he had a poem and a rose for me. But what got him with me, and that made him say, oh my gosh, she's the one, was he held the door open for me. I got into the car. And then as he was shutting the door, I leaned over and I reached over and opened the door for him.
Opened the door for him.
Isn't that
and he was like,
the Bronx Tale. The Bronx Tale.
And I didn't know nothing about that at the time. He's like, oh my gosh, have you ever seen that? That's how he knows she's the one. He's like, you're the one and everything.
So now
that's the Bronx Tale test. I've actually done that before. And I was like, oh, but yeah. I said to myself, that's just a movie, but
So chivalry is important, but reciprocity for the chivalrous acts is also just as important,
Agreed.
So women, we need to show those standards in our appreciation. When he acts up, don't reward bad behavior. Shut the poop and walk. And then
I agree.
If he's good, that's when you get some nice cosplay. You let him go.
Is that the reward? That's the reward, Sparrow, cosplay?
That's the reward.
What are you dressing up as, Sparrow?
I don't know if I it's funny because that's new for me. I got into that recently. And so I like to keep that a little private, but it's fun. And
interesting.
I encourage women to be sexy for your men. I think over, speaking on what you said last week, Khadijah, about the LGBTQ community, it's such the journey of self-discovery with that. I feel like we can promote acceptance of sexuality and sexual orientation without losing the heterosexual, or not even just heterosexual. This is actually just interpersonal skills that are just considerate. I think a gay man should open a door for his gay husband. Who cares if that's the role you're working and you're the one who's in that masculine energy and he's in that feminine energy, so then play that role of the masculine energy, be a gentleman towards your man. If you're so and I think what happened was through those self-discoveries, we lost the idea of chivalry, like because we're trying to dismantle like all the old traditions that were actually oppressive. But by doing that, we're losing the things, the traditions that actually kept us closer and kept us more family oriented. So it depends.
Okay, I like that, Sparrow.
Thank you.
Sparrow has a way. She just has a way.
She just has a way. She does. She definitely do.
You know what? Really quickly,
There's a sparrow, there's a way.
I want to go on record. Bronx Tale was the worst movie I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah, you keep saying that.
God.
I said I like the movie. You only
never saw it.
for whatever reason.
I quit. I'm done.
I never saw it.
I can't stand.
That was such a cute love. That was such a cute love tale. Are you serious?
Love and Basketball is my love story.
Hollywood. That was all Hollywood.
Very cute.
It was all what?
Cute.
That was all Hollywood. That was all Hollywood. That never would have existed back then.
I mean, it probably wouldn't have.
So I guess
it was a good movie. It was a good
I know
movie.
that at some point this weekend, I guess I'm watching that movie.
You're gonna be
I have
disappointed
no
if you-
clue.
You're gonna be
It's
disappointed.
a gangster movie, you know.
I think you'll like it, Khadijah. You should
Well, let
definitely
me
watch
tell you,
it.
you know what's funny though? The guy who played C, first of all, it's a stupid Italian name, Cologito. Nobody names their kid Cologito. That's a stupid movie, stupid name. And on top of that, the guy who played Cologito did like 5 years for armed robbery because he couldn't get any work. That's how much he sucked. And I hope he hears
no. But the thing is, though, that movie also touches on other topics. It don't touch on just love, but it also touches on racism as well.
Yeah.
So I liked it for other variants.
It was
You know
all
what I mean?
Hollywood.
But racism was definitely one of them. Because, you know, she's Black and he's Italian. So, you know, and in the Italian community, I don't think that's kind of like acceptable back then, right?
Yeah.
So
it was more like the Black girl was your side piece and you married the white girl.
Exactly.
He married another Italian. You know what? I can honestly say that my father had a relationship like that, and they couldn't be seen in public, period, back then. And that was right during the civil rights movement. I mean, that was
that's the wrong time for him to do that.
Right, that was the wrong thing. Talking about.
My father,
both of y'all lynched at the time. Really?
It's funny, we transitioned from at one point to love across genders and sex, gender and race was a crime, and nowadays it's to love period is a crime.
Well, you know what? Let me just say, back then, because my father had that type of relationship. She was a Jamaican woman, and they used to meet at a hotel, and it was a hotel that had joining rooms, had the joining door, and that's how they would meet. And just,
Oh wow!
They would have lynched me back in the days. We walk in the streets. They ain't no hiding me.
well, they would have licked me back in the days too.
I would have been hanging on the street with my man. Yes, we're together to the end.
Would you have traded in yesterday's love for today's knowing, today's openness, you know, relevance? People are being awoke and aware. Would you have traded that love that they had back then for what we deal with right now? Would you have traded it off?
I can honestly say I believe love conquers. So no, I wouldn't have. I would have kept that love. I always believe that love is the key to healing a lot of the damages we have amongst ourselves personally, self-love, interpersonal love, racism love, you know, our brothers and sisters were making movements with Black Lives Matter, but we're still not addressing colorism and how that's affecting us. And,
right.
You know, I'm always fighting like, I'm Black too.
Hey. Right. right.
So, you know, so it's a lot. It is a lot to consider, but, you know, I had personally, I was married for 10 years to a guy that most women would have killed to have. And yes, gentlemen, women will kill to have you if you're a good man. Believe it. They are deadly.
Right here, here's a commodity right here.
And I, you know, he was a great man, and I wasn't aware of the things that I am now. You know, I met him, I was 24, and I was so young, but I had a better understanding than most of the world at the time. But the knowledge I gained through losing him, I would have him back in a second, you know, if it meant for me to revert back to being a baby. you know?
So let me ask you a question, Sparrow. What are your guidelines on public displays of affection?
Oh, I'm all for it. I just don't tongue my throat in the middle of everybody in the middle. There's too much PDA. Those couples, I understand when you first meet, you know, the honeymoon phase, certain places, yes. But I'm all for, like, you better claim me, because if you don't, there's someone who does out there who will.
Terri TV, public displays of affection. What do you got to say about it?
I'm half and half. So yeah, hold my hand. Yeah, show that we are actually together as a couple. But like Sparrow said, don't be tonguing me down in midway, in Midtown somewhere, where everybody's walking up and down the street. Still show some level or form of respect at the end of the day.
Yes.
That's my motto. Yes, let's still be freaky. Let's still do stuff, you know, and all that good stuff. But yeah, just half and half.
Well, you know what? Public displays of affection are definitely a touchy situation. Some people are all for it. Some people are not. I get that. This guy right here is all for it. Listen, I'll tongue down in the middle of anywhere. I'll tongue down in the middle of Times Square if I have to. Believe me, if I want to. Let's put it that way. Travesty, public displays of affection.
Yeah, I'm with it too. But like, you know, there are limits. You know, you don't want to go like the whole tonguing thing. I mean, you know, not in the middle of Times Square or Midtown, like you said. You know what I'm saying? But maybe in the corner somewhere where nobody's real quick. But you know, but I'm all for that. I've always been told that I was an affectionate type of guy. I don't know, but I don't mind showing it in public at all. There you go.
Well, let me tell you this though. Let me tell you this. I can honestly say that there were many times that people yelled out for us to get a room.
Yeah, see that shouldn't happen. I don't want to do that to the point where people are like, get a room. You know, I don't want to make people that uncomfortable. So
that means there was tongue, there was touching action, there was grabbing, groping, there was all that type of stuff happening then.
You know what? To be honest with you, I'm not even gonna lie. It was it was pretty wild. It was pretty wild, but we don't care.
Now, I might have done that though as a teenager. I will say as a teenager, it didn't matter to me.
Mm-hmm. I think
I've done that as a teenager, just didn't matter where I was at. But
yeah, that was like, I'm getting,
you know, as a grown person, you know, as a grown person, I you know, I can't.
That was just the ego of like, yeah, I'm tapping that.
Definitely.
That's what I was gonna say. Like as a teenager, you want to show it all.
You know, that stairway didn't matter, but you know.
I think it's important with understanding why PDA is important, because especially like men don't understand female politics and what it means when you're displaying your woman a certain way or not, and how that translates to women. And then it comes off to us, to men, that we're being insecure or controlling. But the truth is, you know, for a man, asserting yourself a certain way is important. Like if a guy's trying to violate your boundaries or your woman's boundaries, coming in and intervening in that is important, because that's showing that you value her and you're protecting her. Now for women, if the same thing was to happen, that's, if I was to come in and let's say a woman's making a move towards my man, it's my man's job to display the PDA so that she does, one, she knows that boundary immediately. Two, if she doesn't know that boundary and then she attempts to violate that boundary, if I go and assert myself the same way a man might try to assert myself, she'll look at it as I see her as a threat, and that, yeah, I know your man wants me and you're threatened by it. And that's why you coming in and asserting yourself is your insecurity.
No, it is a form of insecurity, quite honestly speaking, because if you can't, if you don't know that your man is fine, another woman will definitely tell you that, just straight up and down. So you definitely have to be secure in your relationship in order to know that, A, you have to trust him to make sure that he knows that he should honor your relationship and respect it, more importantly, so that he's not out doing crazy shit. But on top of that, knowing how to check somebody if they come up to him disrespectfully. But if he fine, he fine.
Well, you see, I think men have and gentlemen, please chime in if you disagree. But I think men have more concerns when it comes to that, because they're either one, they're too nice, because if a woman, come on, we're women. How many times you've seen a nice guy and if you just lay that femininity on him, you got him. And most women are aware of this. And what happens is, if I come in and I'm using my femininity on my man, on another woman's man, then I'm putting him in a position to basically, he knows he can't just be like, bitch, back off.
But everybody hold their thoughts, because I want to introduce our guest of the evening. We have Miss Amber Holmes. Amber Holmes is on the
Hello, Amber Holmes.
Hi,
Sorry, I'm
Amber.
running a little late. I'm having technical difficulties. I'm here.
All right.
Hello.
You made it. You
Hi,
made it.
Amber.
Amber Holmes, what's happening? We're having an in-depth discussion about public displays of affection, as well as Sparrow bringing up male and female politics. But before we get into that, why don't you go ahead and give us a little bit about what's going on with Amber Holmes? What's the latest and greatest?
So my name is Amber Holmes. I'm mostly known as a fashion designer, but I'm also a creative director, a body positive model, a mom, and a patient advocate for a nonprofit health organization. So I keep myself pretty busy, but fashion is my life, and that's my passion, and that's something I'll always do. So that's where my heart is.
Well, we're loving that, Amber, because guess what? Terri TV is also heavily involved with fashion. Am I right, Terri?
Yes, I actually just launched a maxi style dress, like a year-round maxi dress. And so
Ooh, I love
definitely
that.
have questions for you.
Yeah, I love that. Up here, I live in close to Seattle, and during the spring and summer, farmers markets are really big. And I take a bunch of maxi dresses out there, and they just eat them up. Maxi dresses, everybody loves them, especially if they have pockets.
Oh, noted. Thank you for that. I need to remember that. So pockets, got it.
Pockets, you gotta find the one with the pockets.
So, Amber, let me ask you a question. Right now, are we still swearing off men or not?
I never was swearing off men. I was never swearing off men. I take my breaks from dating, but I've never sworn off men.
Oh, well, there you go.
Oh, wait a minute. Where did that come from, though? Did you have intel on Amber before we did? Like, what did that
Has a way of
come
bringing
from?
stuff up that no one ever knows.
I share a
what
lot
he's
of my
talking about.
dating life on Facebook because people just love hearing my stories, and they just want something to relate to, and so do I. So yeah, I crack jokes on my dating life all the time.
You should definitely be following me on Facebook, Amber, because that's all I do all day.
Yeah, okay, I feel you.
I'm with the shit. So definitely follow me. We'll follow each other. Let's say that.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I would love to see what you guys design and model in it for you. That would be awesome. That would be so much fun.
She's 5'10", everybody. 5'10".
What? Wait a minute, Sparrow, you're 5'10"?
Yes, ma'am.
Wow. Okay. Why am I not following you on Facebook either?
Yeah.
Well, definitely will reach out.
Okay. 5'10". Wow. Why did I think you were like 5'4"?
I don't tell you like that.
All right. Well, you know what, Sparrow? I want to get into something right now, because we were discussing it before, and now that Amber is on, let's go ahead and get into the male and female politics. How come women get upset because men go ahead and do what they want to go and do, but if women want to go what they want to do, it's always an issue. So now that Amber's on, we can discuss this. So let's go ahead and hit the male and female politics.
Should I say how what's his name said it, that women don't like seeing men having fun without them? No, I'm just joking.
That's true. We already know that.
Okay, so here's the deal. I don't think women have a problem with men going out having fun. I just think that it's how men go about doing it.
What is it that men do versus women, and how they go out and have fun doing it? What do you mean? Like a guy will go to a bar, or they'll go party? What are we talking about?
our insecurity over this does not come from you particularly. It or unless your behavior in the past has displayed some tendencies to be questionable. But
Right.
I really feel like this is just more like, as a woman myself, I've been out by myself with my girlfriends, and a group of guys come, and then a lot of times they be married or whatever, but they're flirting with me, having a good time away from their wives. So if I'm seeing that on my end, please, what do you think I'm imagining my man's doing when he's with his boys?
Facts.
Oh boy. All right, wait a minute. So what you're basically telling me is that if a man is just extra nice to the opposite sex, or these days partner being nice to somebody else, that's a problem?
When a woman's out with her girlfriends, we have a rule. We come together, we stay together, we leave together.
Yeah.
Now,
Facts.
if
I don't okay.
and then we even have a code. If we're out and I'm dancing, I hula hoop. My hula hoop is my barrier, but before I had a hula hoop, my girlfriend was my barrier. Khadijah, me and her went out.
I was her wingman.
Yes.
Disrespect.
So anyways, what had happened was, if a guy comes up behind us and starts dancing with us, we give our girlfriend the look, and that look, she comes in and rescue us, because we really don't like it when you guys are coming up and dancing on us. So when we see guys acting so thirsty and not respecting our boundaries, and then a lot of them will have girlfriends or wives, the way we're viewing is that when you're out with your guys and you don't want me around, it's because you want to behave like that too.
Yeah.
So you don't believe that men are, when they're together, that they're not
every
in
man
Bible
is doing
study?
that same thing.
Just a little bit though. So I think even if you're in a relationship, it's important to have individual lives. You're a person before you met them, and you're going to be a person if they still when they leave. So I think it's still important to, keep our own interests too, not be a ball under each other all the time.
Oh, I agree with that 100%. And there should be a balance always. Everything's always about a balance.
Let me interrupt you for 1 second. Travesty, you were going to weigh in on something. Go ahead, Travesty.
I forgot what it was. Oh yeah, I think because she was saying that men are, she's getting that treatment from men, that she feels that her man is doing that when she's not around. I was just saying that's not necessarily true, that every man is doing this just because you've seen that come, your way that way. It doesn't mean that your man is out there doing that.
So men, when they get together, they're doing Bible study when they get together.
No, I mean,
choking the chicken
it doesn't mean that. Look.
They're studying Corinthians. Gotcha.
Wait.
There are some normal guys
They're
out
doing
there,
sword fights.
Right.
No.
Wait a minute.
But I mean, there's some normal guys that are just a group of good guys.
I have seen women, married women, girls' night out, behave like savages.
I have too.
Yes.
It's definitely not
where,
but at the same time, I don't think, just because that happens, I don't think that, if my wife goes out, she's going to be doing this. I would never think that, just because I've seen other women do it. You know what I mean?
Well, no, I'm not saying that, but he asked why women sometimes show this issue, and I'm explaining, and I am answering that question. Now, ladies, we have power out there, and we abuse it. It's simple. And we abuse our femininity. And gentlemen, it's not, what's that word? Demasculating or emasculating? I always get it wrong.
Emasculating.
It's not emasculating for your man to stand up to you, for your woman to stand up for you against another woman. We need to check these women too.
Mm-hmm.
I think if everybody went by the same moral code, right, when it came to dating, relationships.
Something, but I can't right now.
Go ahead.
I want you to say it.
I'm not going to say that.
No, brother, man, speak your truth, brother. You
Speak your truth, Travis.
Power of Malcolm beholds you.
But okay, what you just said. All right, so you're saying you're going to take it upon yourself to confront a woman who you think has an eye on your man. That's what you're saying, right? and you want to confront her to let her know, don't F with my man or whatever. That's what you're saying.
I want to be, yes. Yep.
Now, there's nothing wrong with that. Wait, there's nothing wrong with that if you're 100% sure. If you're 100% sure that she's after your man.
Okay, so it's
Not
about
every
this.
woman may be
It's
after
not.
the man.
No, it's not. But it's about when a woman takes action. It's not about if she, listen, by all means, you better want my man.
Of course,
And
then you're
then
making
girls
it
are looking at
happen.
him
Then
like,
you're like a
what
victim
is
of your
she
own
seeing him?
circumstance. Then you see what I'm saying?
But
Because
the
you're
No.
making that the issue when it's not the issue. First you say,
No.
oh, you
Yes,
better
I
want my
do. I
man, but then
understand
you
that.
turn
That
around and
could be
say, you better
you're-
not want my man. You understand what I'm saying?
The
Okay,
one,
you're
the
talking
wanting
from-
of
You
the
see
man
what I'm
is
saying? You see what I'm
different.
saying?
Okay.
The wanting of the man is because we know he look good, right? But don't
Okay.
overstep the boundary, is what she's saying.
But
Don't
what
act
if-
like you could
but-
come up to him
okay.
and think that you can say what you want out of your mouth.
All right.
Your piece. Just like when a man knows another man, and you know when a man's making a move on your woman, even though she may not be a real. Like, for example, on a train, I had one incident when my late husband saw a guy standing over me, and he kept swaying his hips towards my face area. He
His hips?
immediately
But damn, what
switched
was he trying to
seats.
do?
New York.
On the train, and he was just
You
going
know,
like this?
you know, New York
Harassment is
trains
the
are
language
really
out
Yeah,
here.
weird.
but still, now
So-
that's total disrespect. See, now that's
But like,
a
listen,
double
But
situation.
listen, as a woman, I was unaware at the time, as a young woman, I was unaware of what he was doing. It's
Well, what did you think
because
he
he
was
was
doing?
slick by moving every time the train moved, he moved with it. You get it?
Oh, come on.
So-
Wait a minute. Which
Wait a
train was
minute.
that? I want to know what
Subway?
train that was.
The
What
floor.
train was that?
But anyway, so what happened was
Train
by
was that,
doing that,
Sparrow?
but
Which
it's
train?
Oh,
so,
no.
like understand. But my point I'm trying to make is that as a woman, I wasn't aware of his actions and what he was implicating until my late husband pointed it out and made me aware of it. And there are a lot of women that walk around unaware of these things, and there's a lot of men that walk around unaware of women politics, and then they don't see it coming, and then that's how they get walked into situations, and the woman will take action, and that's what I'm meaning about intervening. That's all.
Wait a minute. Time out. First of all, I want to know which train
I
that was.
don't know.
Sometimes you can't even be told.
It sounded like it was the H train.
You know,
I gotta get my nails done. 4 train.
I'm sorry, but yeah,
I've
I'm gonna
stood-
have
I've
to
stood up on
agree
the
to a
subway
certain
trains,
extent.
and there are times when it's flying through the tunnel and you be moving like this. It doesn't necessarily mean you're trying to gyrate in front of a woman. Now, I don't know about
But
that.
no. I noticed that men will sit there, and if it's a man who sits in that place, they'll move back and they'll respect the space. But when it's a woman, they're all up in the space. Like they don't care. And
I
it's
don't
natural.
know.
Even with the
All right,
leg
all right,
spread.
wait, hold
Guys
on,
will
hold
sit
on,
with the
Sparrow.
leg spread, and then their leg is bumping against the woman. But as soon as a dude sits there, their legs are closed.
Wait a minute. Hold on. All right. We can hold that thought. That's ridiculous, Sparrow. Because half the time you're hanging on for dear life on a subway. We all know that. Amber Holmes, I want you to weigh in on this. I know you haven't been on a subway, but what do you think of this whole thing, Amber?
No, I've been on the subway, not a whole lot, maybe like 1 or 2 times. So I understand the reference. And I think in general, like she said, it's right. If it was another man, he wouldn't be standing up all in his space. But when it comes to women, men often feel comfortable coming in our space. Essentially, not respecting boundaries. It's almost like if you're a woman, then your boundaries won't be respected. So I definitely understand what you're saying, guys. I feel like guys try to get away with as much as they can.
Yeah, I agree.
Exactly.
I hear you on that. I hear you on that. But Khadijah, our favorite millennial, you wanted to weigh in. Go ahead.
I agree.
With
I
Sparrow.
agree because it's even happened to me. And this is why I say that when you look in a relationship and you go, oh, millennials, how do they work? Oh my gosh, can't figure it out. But it's like, no, I do have those moments. And I'll give you an example. The other night, me and Elijah were in Penn Station, and he naturally tends to walk ahead of me. Now, the difference between, I guess, me and other females, I don't expect the man to protect me because I will go off on my own. I just will. I don't care who it is. If you are just too much doing something and I'm at that point and you're not catching a hint, I will say it bluntly. But this guy kept flirting with me, and because Elijah was a mile away, he kept hitting on me, and it was really weird because it was late at night, and I'm like, okay, see, this wouldn't happen if he was walking with me. But I kept walking, and I wanted him to follow me because I wanted him to follow me to the point where I got to Elijah, and then he realized I had a guy, and I'm like, you see that guy right there? He's like, yeah, what about him? And I'm like, he followed me all the way till I got to you. This would not happen if you were next to me. Not that I have a problem with defending myself, but still, I'm still a woman. And a man can still overpower me, and anything could have happened in that time. So I do absolutely agree. Even though I don't mind saying something about it, I'm not a man. I can't defeat y'all. And so therefore my man should have been there walking next to me. Instead, there's certain things I'm okay with, like I said, but yes, I agree. And even when it comes to other women, because it does come off a certain type of way if you were to step in and say something, there is certain things that you guys have to set boundaries on too. Like, why is it up to us and you guys get to be clueless? But I guarantee you, if a man came up in our face, it'd be like, oh, well, why didn't you say this, that, and the third? Okay, when this woman came in your face, why didn't you say this, that, and the third?
You know what?
It's almost like
Shots
women
fired.
are required to be more aware than men are. And, you know, it's another one of those double standards.
Well, you know what? Let me just say one thing.
In any situation, no matter where we are, if we're grocery shopping, if we're in a parking lot, if we're at the gym, if we're at work sometimes,
all I know is that if a guy, if my man is with me, he pay attention, be next to me. I guess I'm pretty chill, but there are certain things that I'm just like, I will say it, you don't listen. I'm like, I'm gonna wait, and I wait, and then I go, this is why.
You know what, Khadijah, I agree with you on that. And you know what, I'm going to put this out there to all men, whether they're millennials or not, whether you're walking with your partner or whether you're walking with your female, that is your queen right there. She's your queen. You don't want to have anything happen to your queen, because I can tell you right now, if I dare walk the head of my wife, it would be over. You would all be at my funeral right now. So that's the bottom line. That is your queen, and you have to handle that, okay? That's that simple. And going forward really quickly, since it's almost that magic time already, Khadijah, do we have a millennial report?
Well, considering many generations under us do not or are not forming traditional relationships or partnerships, what do you think PDA looks like in the future? Is it non-existent because I can't show love because I got multiple partners? Or is it just I have my main and then I show affection to them and no one else? Does that make sense?
Totally makes sense. Love it. Well, let's see if we get any comments on that. That'll be tremendous. So my question now is over to Amber Holmes. Amber Holmes, you're close to Seattle. I have a question for you. What is the deal with that Seattle freeze? What is that all about?
So the Seattle freeze is supposedly, if you move to Seattle, it's going to be hard making friends because basically if you're not here, the locals freeze you out. I think that's true and that's not true. I grew up here like as a teenager, and then when I got married, I moved away and moved to Texas, and now I'm moving back. So it's not like I'm completely new here, but I've learned as long as you put yourself out here, you'll meet people, and you know, that's what I've done.
It seems like a lot of people are moving to Seattle. I know at least two people that moved there. So something's going on there.
Yeah, something is totally going on here because honestly, since I moved back here like 2 years ago, I haven't dated anyone who's actually from here. They're all implants.
Yeah.
Does racism have anything to do with that?
No, I think we're actually a lot more liberal up here than down in the South. It's very more ethnically diverse up here. And dating outside of your race isn't seen as bad up here. It's just really, it's different, you know, coming from Texas and coming back here, it's completely different as far as what the dating scene is. I think also being close to Seattle, we have so many tech companies that are here, like Microsoft and Boeing, that even the quality of man that you attract in this area, I mean, is always top notch. If you do it.
Amber, did you say you have room for me at your place? Did you say that? I thought I heard you say you have room for me.
We can get you a room.
Okay, got you. But I also think that you guys have some of the best smoking up there too. That's why y'all so mellow. Y'all so calm up there because y'all smoking good. That's what I heard. I don't know now. You guys are way too chill in Seattle.
I think definitely that's like the living here too. Like whenever my relatives fly in, we don't even go to the house, go right to the dispensary.
I get it.
Yeah, I got some quality dispensary.
Look, yay! Okay, Sparrow.
You know what? Sparrow, this goes out to Sparrow and Khadijah, our favorite millennial. We might need to go to Seattle and do a show one day.
Yeah.
Yes, make
That would be
that
dope. I
part of
Take
always
me
wanted to go
with
to
you
Seattle.
guys. I will totally come with you guys. Don't count me out. I would be there.
Well, listen, this goes out to Travesty. Travesty, can you pick up Terri TV on the way out?
Yeah, we leaving from the same spot.
There we go.
So I want to ask a little a bit of a controversial question. Do you consider yourself light skin, dark skin, medium, ladies? How do you categorize yourselves?
I'm caramel.
Erica, if you want to stick with light, dark, medium, I guess I would say medium.
Okay. Amber?
I've always been considered light skinned, but especially since moving to Washington, because being out in the sun.
Uh-huh. And so what are your experiences in colorism when it comes to this categorization? And I ask this because I myself struggle as a light-skinned woman to even be accepted. Like, you should see me trying to attend Black Lives Matter. They're like, move over, bitch. It's our turn.
Oh, no.
I'm not gonna lie, and on that topic, because I've been there with you, for certain things, and you'd be like, well, how should I dress? How should I wear my hair? And I'm like, for me, who doesn't see things that way, I'm like, what? And then, but I do get it, because even if I go to a club and I go to a club with a lighter skinned Black female, depending on where we go, they will get more love. It's in like Hoboken is one of those places, which is why I hate partying in New Jersey. That is a big thing. Where for some people we are cast out, and then lighter skinned women are accepted. And it I'm not gonna lie, even throughout high school, it kind of caused a bit of a tension between both. And that's why I think
definitely a divide for sure within our community, because at the end of the day, we're all multifaceted, but we all are Black at the end of the day. So
yeah, but there's a problem with that and how they portray it too. Like if you look at when I love the show She's Gotta Have It, but I love a lot of shows and movies, but I have, unless it's like Tyler Perry or someone of the sort, usually lighter skinned women are cast as a Black main role, but you have all these darker skinned Black men like that, but darker men, and it's just like, where's that person that represents someone who looks like me? You know what I'm saying? Like, why did Whoopi Goldberg have to be Sealy? She ain't even ugly. Like that's a whole situation.
What's
Whoopi
your
Goldberg
view?
is ugly, but she didn't have to be Sealy.
Yeah,
I get it.
that's not a cute woman.
Just put that out there.
I'm sorry. But anyway.
Sorry, Whoopi
But
Goldberg, if you're watching this.
Oh my
Amber, what's your view as a light-skinned Black woman on this?
It's a little complicated for me. My mother is a dark-skinned woman, so I never understood the categorizations of I've heard people say that, oh, they prefer light-skinned women because they're more well-mannered, and dark-skinned women are that. I would just, look at people crazy, like, where did you make that up with?
Yeah.
And then also too, I grew up as an Army brat, so and most of my childhood actually spent over in Europe. So I kind of grew up in this racial utopia, and I don't like to say I didn't see color, but honestly, growing up as a military brat, we was around with everybody, and we were friends with everybody, and it was never an issue. And honestly, never even that light skin, dark skin thing didn't even dawn on me until we moved back to the States, and we moved to Maryland for a couple of years. And then that was the first time I actually went to school with kids who weren't other military kids. It was the military kids, and it's for like the civilian kids. And the civilian kids, they were actually not too far down the street, and was, I guess, from, you know, Section 8 housing or whatever, lower income housing. And one of my good friends I was with, you know, she was light skinned too, and one of her good friends was dark. We were just at school one day, and they were just like, they asked the dark, and she, you know, they're like, "Why are y'all hanging around with that darkie?" I'm like, "What?"
Yeah.
Wow.
You know, that matters. You know, that's like 6th, 7th grade. Be like,
That
you know, that mattered.
and that's so true. You don't become aware of it because even for the opposite, until she said it, I didn't realize it. But like, so me being a darker skinned Black female, when I speak and say certain things, I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I have to kind of be on point because there's already this stereotypical thing when it comes to a Black woman of my shade, and it's better to sound more
Articulate.
articulate, put together
Yeah.
than not. It's like,
I
well,
think
now it's the opposite question for you, Wilhelmina. It's like, well, okay, if I'm going to a Black event, should I wear my hair curly or straight? And for me, it's like, do I need to put in a weave? Do I not? And it's like, I really prefer not.
Yeah.
I like my hair. Sorry,
I
but
think dark skin women have been demonized with their look and their because they're dark skin and the stigmas that comes with that. And but what happens is that damage that we have, that colorism, if we're trying to conquer that, how are we going to exercise the very tool that was implemented to conquer us and enslave us, which was colorism? William Lynch, everyone knows about this, but my dark-skinned brothers and sisters, when are we going to let that go?
This situation goes so far back, further than the Willie Lynch situation, which actually proved to be a whole myth, quite honestly. It went back to slavery days when the lighter folks were inside of the house. They were the ones that were the servers. They were the ones that were the babysitters and the ones that got to be in the air condition, right? Yeah. While the darker skinned individuals were outside in the field.
You know, really?
But that was the psychological warfare.
Really?
That was the
Quickly.
psychological warfare.
18 hours passing by and being a slave outside. Can you imagine that? No, none of us can, right? So
but really quick, I want to speak about second Millennial Report. Can I do it?
Go ahead, second Millennial Report. By all means.
Will the generations under us understand and comprehend this the way that we do, to not be susceptible to the way or direction the future is moving? And I say this purely off of the fact I was at my mom's house, and the way you guys are talking about light skins and dark skins, light skins were inside, dark skins were outside. My sister has this term called porch monkey. And one day I was over at the house, and she said something to my brother, and she's like, "You porch monkey," and I was like, "Hold up, wait a minute, do you even understand?" And I was in my mom's room. I was like, "Does she even know what she just?" And the thing is, what my household is, when my sister says something, I'm like, I'm about to give you some information real quick. So that's my question. Whether do they really understand? Because for my sister to call my brother a porch monkey, my childish side got how it was funny, but then the side where I know history was like, why?
I got you. You know what? I'm not glad that you brought up that remark, but unfortunately, that's some slang that people have had to deal with. But you know what? My son, being half Italian, half Black, my son actually has to deal with that in school now, and a lot of kids are coming up to him and asking him for a pass, and they're asking him for an N-word pass to actually say the N-word. But that's a different.
Yes.
Not cool.
When I heard that.
They do that to the light skin. I would have them talk if they see that I'm like blending in enough, they'll open up around and then talk about that stuff in front of, and then they look for us to give them the okay and everything. So it's like, so really technically it's not that we get more opportunities or accepted, it's just we're the token Black person, and we have to be like,
yeah, the determining factor of that situation. And guess what? There's a guy at my job who is Italian actually, and he works around a lot of Black people and whatnot, so he's picked up the slang. But one day he said the word, and I was like, I'm still on the fence about if I want to curse him out or not.
You should curse him out.
You definitely should curse him out, but I think also,
But I was like,
white people, y'all want to know how y'all get the pass? And my brothers and sisters, drop a comment if you agree or disagree. You get the pass because you included us as family, despite how different we are, and we rolled together and we died together. That's those white people who get the pass. I still don't agree with that, because
and I don't either, because
the reason give it for that reason.
No. Hold on, hang on, Khadijah. Go ahead, Terry.
No, what I was saying is, no, definitely nobody gets a pass for saying that word, period. Like, let's normalize not saying the word. Let's normalize not saying it. But I also believe,
but
I have had conversations with some of my Caucasian counterparts, and it came down to that they felt that the darker skinned individuals were more aggressive for some reason. And so they see your light skin and they're like, oh, she's not as aggressive as someone that's a little darker, or we're deemed as angrier for some reason.
They try to make me look crazy. That's what they try to do. The thing is, they'll play on, the passive aggressive thing, and then if I stand in my truth and I stand up, and then you see, okay, my Blackness come out.
Right.
And then that's when they'll, oh no. And then like, oh my gosh, calm down. It's like, you ain't calming down and everything. Right. You said some outlandish stuff and I have a right to be angry and or something. And then they'll demonize my anger or my emotions and try to make it like, oh, she's crazy. See, she's crazy. Even my Black brothers and sisters do that to me. My white brothers and sisters do that to me. I'm the crazy girl because I'm light skinned. Please stop it. And then so it is frustrating to deal with it, because a lot of the stuff I've done in my career, as well as like personally, is to help my brothers and sisters, because as someone who's lived in between and I've been ostracized on all angles, I see the problem is not Black or white, it's all of us. We all have the issue. We all need to heal. And and I think the importance is we need to heal colorism, because that is what's stopping us from progressing.
It's deep. It gets way deeper than just, the things that we had to deal with, whether it was your personal problem or my personal problem. It's just so much deeper. And I don't think that we have enough time or layers to even try to address it, even in this conversation right now. It's just so deep.
There'll be more episodes to come.
You know what?
We'll need way more episodes.
Terri TV, Sparrow, I got to tell you, it's that magic time. And I want to thank Amber Holmes for coming on. And even though Amber was a little late getting on, don't worry, Amber, we'll have you back on again, because there's definitely a lot of unfinished things that were discussed in this episode.
Yeah.
So
please come back.
Yes,
please.
Have you back.
Watching y'all interact is really fascinating. I love to be back.
You know what, Amber, before we go, where are you at right now? Because I want to come there. Are you in a lounge somewhere? I want to come to that place.
Yeah, I see the fire pit in the background and whatnot.
That's her house.
Oh, whoa, all right.
This is a storage facility, but it's called a working storage. So you actually can work out of your garage space or whatever. It has like the ceilings are 20, 30 feet high, and they're huge. And then as a thing that comes with it, with your monthly rental is this clubhouse. We have access to it 24 hours a day. Jessica, you can spin the camera a little bit if you want to. But yeah.
Oh, nice.
Ooh.
Nice.
Amber, maybe we could talk about hosting retreats for that clubhouse and local Airbnbs.
Yes, ma'am. Actually,
good idea.
So another thing I do is I have a company called Gypsy Soul Holistics, and it's a spiritually in tune and intuitive business. I sell a lot of organic skincare, but I also help things that help you with your spiritual growth. You know, I got your sage, Palo Santo, all that to invite the good vibes in. But so that we run like 3 businesses out of our storage unit. And one of my ideas was to do a retreat because I think one of the things that has been so beneficial for me since moving back to Washington is just the nature. Like I really gotten into hiking and kayaking and paddleboarding because it was just really healing. So I've been wanting to do a retreat where we could do some girl things, but then we're gonna go out in nature and become one.
Well, you know
Okay.
what?
Definitely follow you on
I'm
social
letting you
media.
know right now, I cannot do any of that. I can't do any nature stuff. I'm not doing any of that. But
Yeah,
at this
I'm not a
point,
nature
On your
guy
social
either.
media.
and Amber, I know this is the first time you've been on the show, but what we normally do is we do our sign off. And I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to you, Amber. Feel free to sign off, give a shout out, give thank yous, whatever you want to do at this point. The floor is yours.
So I just want to encourage you guys to follow me on Instagram for my designs. It's at Amber Holmes Originals. Holmes like Sherlock, HOLMES. So that's Amber Holmes Originals. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook at Amber Holmes Originals. Also, for more about your spiritual needs, Gypsy Soul Holistics. You can find that on Gypsy Soul Holistics, just at Gypsy Soul Holistics on Instagram, Facebook, and Etsy.
Awesome.
And I
Khadijah,
just
our
want to
favorite.
say
Go
thank you
ahead.
to my producer tonight, Jessica Dennis. Thank you, boo. Yeah.
Hi there.
All right, cool. We got a cameo appearance there. Khadijah, our favorite millennial, over to you.
Peace, love, and happiness. Share love, spread love, be patient, and we'll figure it out.
All right, Terri TV.
People, get tested. If you are sexually active, get tested.
And Sparrow.
Hey, this is Sparrow. Leave a comment if you got something to say. Shots fired. We want to hear it. So, and I'm sure the rest of the world does too. And like, subscribe. See ya.
All right. And this is Petee G signing off. And I just want to let everybody know that I am doing whiskey number 5. And I'm chasing it with wine number, I don't know, whatever. But anyway, I want everybody to go ahead, be safe, wear your mask, get tested, like Terri said, and also get vaxxed if you don't want to get vaxxed. That's up to you. That's your right. Be safe. And Travesty, over to you.
All right, everybody, we out. Peace.